You are listening to the Knightline Sports Network, brought to you by Travis Dever and the Dever team, 386-690-1636.
Welcome to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Night Nation's only call-in show goes live now.
All right. Hello, Night Nation. Hello, Orlando. This is Andrew Phegley, and this is Knightline at Night. We're live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barlaw, assisting I've messed this up again. Assisting injured veterans to get the help they deserve. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036, or visit protectingvets.com. I mess this up all the time, so it should be nothing surprising.
It's Tuesday night, folks.
It is, yeah. Call Travis Dever for all your new Smyrna Beach real estate needs as well, 386-690-1636. We're taking your calls at 844-580 9326, 844-580-9326, or use the open mic feature on the WDBO app, because we'd love to talk to you as well. Once again, I'm Andrew Phegley, at AP_Knightline on Twitter. I got Big Ben Stout here with me at Big Social 32 on Twitter, and you can find all the rest of our content on nightlinesports.com. We are talking UCF sports. And UCF sports pretty much in its entirety, all of UCF sports. We may talk a little bit about the college basketball March Madness thing, though, because it just ended last night. So we may talk a little bit about that during this. But we would love to hear what you all have to say about spring practices, especially if you have been to one of those open spring practices at UCF and what you observed. I haven't still been to one of those yet. I will be going on Saturday, though. Saturday is the spring game at noon. Looking forward to it. Ben, are you going to be there?
Unfortunately, I cannot make it. I've got a couple family things going on Saturday that I won't allow me to make it. But certainly, like you said, I'll echo your thoughts, Andrew. I'm excited for UCF fans to be able to see it in the spring practice in that type of, or the spring game in that type of environment. But certainly looking for people to give us a call and see what their thoughts are on these open practices that have happened on these Saturday mornings, because I am interested in anything unusual or anything that's sticking out to Night Nation about this new look team with Gus Malzahn at the helm.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very, very excited to, watch that. Here's what Gus Malzahn said about how the spring game is going to go down and what it's going to be like.
It'll really be a ones against twos type deal. We'll have a gold group and a black group, and we'll put the ball down and play. It'll just be regular football, and, field goals be 3 and touchdowns be 6 and extra points be 1, and let our guys play in front of a crowd. I know our guys are really excited about that. We just need to make sure our running backs are healthy. We got enough of them to play.
Okay. Well, you heard that, and that may be a surprise to some people. The running backs. He says the running backs are a little banged up. I'm going to play that clip right here just because he just said it.
I think they've improved each practice. We're a little banged up right now. So, we've got a big scrimmage next Saturday, so we're going to have to get healed up, before we get to next Saturday. That's probably the only concern I have. But I do think, they're continuing to improve, and they're all a little bit different. Each one of our guys is a little bit different, which I think a lot of times helps too.
Okay. Well, that didn't end the way that I wanted it to for some reason. It ended a little quick, but so the running backs seem to be a little bit banged up. Good thing in the fall we're going to be getting a couple more guys coming in that are transfers. So I don't know who's banged up. I know really nothing about all of that. It just sounds like he is a little worried because he's mentioned it twice in 2 comments that the running backs are a little banged up. So I guess we'll see on Saturday who's out there, who's not, who looks good, who doesn't.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting and surprising that he revealed that there's a few of those guys. I mean, we've been talking for weeks now with some transfers that are coming in. I know that we're not going to see them in the spring game by any means, but just in general, we lost Otis and we lost Greg McCrae, but it seems like looking forward to next season that our running back room is going to be pretty crowded, so it will be interesting to see who we see in the spring game, and how they perform. If there's some injuries at play there, I'm sure we will be overly cautious, as we should, with anybody who is pretty banged up. But it does still seem like we're going to have a pretty crowded running back room looking forward to next season, and one or two of those guys stepping up, which should be great for us.
Yeah, I'll get that roster pulled up, because that is an interesting point that he made. So that kind of makes things a little bit interesting. Hopefully, I mean, it's a long time before the fall. Guys can get healed up. I know that they have been working really hard during the spring practice. They're almost done. They've got, I think, another week of spring practice. Or no, not another week. This is the last week, because Saturday
this is the last week.
Game.
Yep.
Yeah. So this interview that I'm playing clips from was last Saturday. So that's why, if he says in one of these clips that it's a week, that's why I was thinking that, because I had just listened to all of it. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the last week then. Only a couple more days of spring practice, and then they'll be going for the summer for them and all that stuff. So I cannot wait for the fall for football to start. So it's going to be 25% capacity at the spring game on Saturday at noon. I'm going. I can't wait. I'm not real excited about the 25% capacity, although it's a spring game, and a lot of times it doesn't even get to that anyway. So that may not be that big of a deal. But I keep reading that they are very interested in doing 100% capacity, and they're planning on doing 100% capacity for the regular season.
I sure hope so.
Yeah, I mean, and I know there's going to be a lot of people vaccinated by that time. In fact, I've finally got my name on a list, and I get it next week. So
awesome.
I'm excited about that. Wasn't really planning on it at first, but now I think that I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I'm gonna get it. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're hearing. It's not necessarily surprising that they stuck with the 25% capacity for the spring game. Obviously, being in April and being the last big football event before the fall happens, it's not too surprising there. I think they're looking to just kind of get past this last football event here. And I think even what we'll see later in the season with other spring sports like baseball and softball, is you'll see maybe a little bit higher percentage capacity than that at those venues. Obviously, there's a lot of other sports that are opening up, whether it's professional sports or whether it's other events that are larger percentage capacities as we move into the summer. And so hopefully, continually everything will be tracking well on the COVID front, and we'll be getting back to normal here in the summer months, and it'll be pretty confident. It would be a lot of confidence moving towards the fall and towards college football season, that we can, as season ticket holders, we can all take advantage of the season tickets that we have bought and sit in our seats and enjoy the games and have a great time cheering on our Knights. Because man, last season a lot of us missed out on that, and I know that the athletes on the field certainly missed the fans in the stands as well.
And if you didn't miss out, you actually went to a game, that it just wasn't the same at all. It was really weird in there. It was a very strange environment, for people that were watching in the stands, the people that were there, plus the players. I mean, just think about that. I mean, you played basketball, I played football in college. Think about having to play in an empty stadium or an empty arena, and what that would be like. In fact, the national championship, March Madness, happened in an empty gym, basically. an empty arena.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I mean, it was in Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, the championship game in the Final Four.
Can you imagine playing in that gigantic building with not very many people there?
Yeah, there was not many people there. It wasn't completely empty. I don't remember the exact amount of. I didn't look at the exact amount of fans that were there, but that is an event, the Final Four and then the national championship game. Final Four always takes place on Saturday, and the national championship game always on Monday. That is always it's a basketball game in a football stadium, and it's always like we're talking over 100,000 fans there for that final game and for the Final Four games. And so that amount of fans for a basketball game is just insane. And so that's one of the things that makes March Madness so special and the Final Four so special for basketball. But obviously this year as a basketball fan and having that event canceled altogether last year.
That's true.
Wow. I was so thankful that I was able to watch March Madness this year. And I don't know if it was because, absence makes the heart grow fonder, or just the fact that we missed out on it last season. But honestly, this past March Madness was probably the most entertaining that I've experienced as a basketball fan. Just watching it throughout, from the first round all the way to the game last night. Even though the game last night was pretty lopsided from start to finish, it was more of a surprising lopsided game with the number one team in the country in Gonzaga that had been number one throughout the whole season going down in a pretty dominant fashion by Baylor. But regardless, there was probably the best basketball game of the last decade that happened on Saturday night between Gonzaga and UCLA that went into overtime, and it was a last-second shot that was like just in front of half court. That's all I'm really going to say too much about the March Madness tournament, because unfortunately our Knights weren't in it, but it was a spectacular tournament from start to finish.
We did have a team from the American in it, though, from our conference in the Final Four, and that's kind of a big deal.
Absolutely.
It was not, Connecticut. Because
no, you're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And Houston has been really the team in our conference for the last few years, but certainly this year they were a top 10, top 15 team, sometimes top 5 team throughout the entire regular season this year. And they showed it in the NCAA tournament. They showed why they were a number 2 seed going into it, and why they were, that powerful of a team, and they showed out for our conference as well. They did a very good job. Their defense was as good as it always was, and I think the rest of the nation understood with their offensive rebounding and how good they are on defense. Kind of understood what we already knew as a team that plays in their same conference, that Houston is a legit national title contender. And it didn't work out for them once they got to the Final Four. They just kind of ran into a buzzsaw when it came to Baylor, but Baylor did the same thing to what was widely considered to be the top team in the country, and an undefeated team in Gonzaga. They did the same thing to them last night that they did to Houston on Saturday. So nothing to be upset about there. They made their first Final Four since the mid-'80s when they had Hakeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler on their team. So they're another team. Houston is a team in the American that
got to go to a break. Ben, sorry to cut you off. We got to go to a break. We'll be right back on Knightline at night, and we'll continue talking a little bit about this.
An auto accident can change your life forever. At Chad Barr Law, we are raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Hi, I'm Chad Barr, and I want you to know that our entire team is dedicated to providing you with the representation you deserve in your greatest time of need. If you or a loved one have been injured in an auto accident, call 407-599-9036 for a free consultation, or visit chadbarlaw.com. At Chad Barr Law, our clients come to us in need and leave as family. Offices Altamont Springs.
Hey, this is Travis Dever, Kai's Real Estate, the Dever team, New Smyrna Beach. Your source for real estate and everything else, New Smyrna Beach. Proud sponsor of Knightline. Call me anytime at 386-690-1636. That's 386-690-1636. Let me show you my hometown, New Smyrna Beach, UCF's favorite beach. Go Knights and charge on.
Looking for more out of your Porsche? Look no further than Flat6Motorsports.com. They have the widest selection of aftermarket Porsche parts anywhere in the world. With over 85 product lines and in-depth expertise, Flat6Motorsports.com is your one-stop shop for any Porsche performance needs. Whether you're shopping for intakes, exhausts, suspension, or tuning, they have you covered. Flat6Motorsports.com is the premier Porsche aftermarket specialist. Check them out at Flat6Motorsports.com.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Knightline at Night. I'm Andrew Phegley, live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barr Law. We're talking UCF sports. Got Big Ben Stout here with me. We were talking a little bit about not UCF sports there. We were talking about the NCAA March Madness and how that went down. We were talking about how Houston, a school from our conference, was in on that. Ben, I wanted to ask you, you were saying how excited you were about watching it and how great of a tournament it was and all that. I wanted to ask you, were you rooting for Houston because they're in our conference?
That's a good question. I really appreciate the way that, like, with their tenacity that they play, you know, they get after the offensive boards and they really play great defense. That I appreciate the way they play basketball. So yes, I would say in addition to kind of knowing them and seeing them since they're in our conference, I was rooting for them. But also you got to remember that March Madness, when it you know, one of half the fun of March Madness is that you get to fill out your bracket and you got a little money on the line. And I had Houston from the beginning in my Final Four, so I was definitely rooting for them to make the Final Four because of my bracket, but also because the familiarity I had with them, you know, just seeing them play a number of times since they're in our conference. So I was hoping. It does definitely rises the prestige of the conference when you have a team that's in the Final Four. So, in that sense only, I was rooting for Houston in the sense that I wanted to see our conference be elevated from a basketball standpoint.
Well, I think that it obviously is with those guys being in the Final Four, especially that says a lot for the American basketball conference and in the American.
It really
Athletic
does.
Conference.
Yeah, it really does. And it also, I don't know if you remember, but the week before the NIT tournament wrapped up and the champion that came out of the National Invitation Tournament, the NIT, was Memphis. So Memphis was a bubble team going into the conference tournament. They maybe were to make the NCAA tournament if they made a run in our conference tournament. But they did get an invitation to the NIT, and they wound up winning the championship there. So that's two, one winning it all, and one making the Final Four. Two teams from our conference really doing well in the postseason of college basketball, and so that again raises the level of our conference overall.
I believe it was Johnny Dawkins' first year here, or second year, that we did really well in the NIT as well. Before we made it to the big dance.
That's right. I believe that was his first season here.
And we were second, I believe, weren't we in that, or were we in the championship game or not? I can't remember. We were second or third.
Yeah, we were either second or third because I know that we made the Final Four for that tournament is usually held in Madison Square Garden. I know that we made the semifinals. I'm not sure if we won our first game or we made it to the championship game. I know that we didn't win it, but we certainly made the Final Four of the NIT that year. I believe that was Johnny Dawkins' first year. I know that Matt Williams was kind of the star of that team, shooting all those threes.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, good stuff from all this. Any team from the American that we can get into one of these, tournaments, or all of the teams that we get in the top 25 of college football that's always a good thing. So
yes,
and I think it's been pretty consistent for the last couple of years. So with basketball being consistent and football being consistent, top teams from football being in those New Year's Six games from the American, and I mean I think that it elevates our conference in general with these teams being in those.
It really does, and it mainly does because it makes our regular season worth it more, right, on a national scale. Like if we have some big wins in conference in the regular season, whether it be football or basketball, it really makes us look good on a national scale because the conference has that more respect. I mean, that's what these quote unquote Power 5 conferences really hang their hat on, right? And so I absolutely agree with you, Andrew. I mean, that's where we are able to, if the conference is better, it's definitely better for UCF, especially in those regular season games.
Absolutely. Well, we have another champion of the American to talk about, but I want to talk about that when we come back from our break. It's coming up here pretty quickly. We'll talk a little bit about that, and we'll talk about some other stuff. There's some basketball news a little bit today of one of our guys kind of putting his foot in the water of the NBA draft. So we'll talk about that as well. We got all kinds of stuff to talk about. We got more clips from Gus Malzahn talking about football. We will definitely talk more football, but we're going to talk some volleyball, some basketball. I don't know. We may get into baseball, softball, any of those things. There's a lot of stuff to talk about for sure. So
for sure,
we will be doing that here momentarily after our break that's coming up very quickly. So, yeah, it's just exciting. It's an exciting time for the American, I would say. It's an exciting time for UCF because football is coming up, obviously. Football is going to be great again in the American, probably even better this year because UCF will be a little bit better. So it's going to be exciting. All right, we're going to take that break right now, and we will be back on Knightline at Night. If you haven't figured it out yet, I love Tijuana Flats. I would love them even if they weren't a partner with us on the Knightline Sports Network. They have all kinds of great Tex-Mex food, and it's fresh, by the way. Made to order burritos, tacos, enchiladas, chimichangas, quesadillas, bowls, nachos, and taco salads. And if you haven't tried the queso, you are completely missing out. It is the best queso that I've ever had in my life. Absolutely hands down. And the sauce bar that they have, everything from wild to mild in there. Absolutely awesome, awesome stuff. Not only do I love the food at Tijuana Flats, but I love the company, a UCF-born company. And they give back to the community with the Justin Queso Foundation. So head to your local Tijuana Flats. Tex-Mex for everyone.
I'm Jeff Allen. Join me each and every week on the Knightline Sports Network for the AAC Report. We bring you in-depth coverage of each school in football, basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, golf, tennis, and more, as well as bring you insider interviews and focus in on the biggest games and news of the week. That's all right here each week on the AAC Report, only on the Knightline Sports Network.
Welcome. This is a promo for the Take a Left at Albuquerque podcast, new to the Knightline Sports Network. You should listen to it. I say things like this. We need to stop blaming Jerry because we would do the exact same thing if we owned the Dallas freaking Cowboys. Do you know how much fun it is to own the Dallas Cowboys? My guests will say things sometimes like this.
It's the Lord of the Flies thing that happens when they don't understand that things are wrong, spoiler alert, until Piggy dies.
Lord of the Flies has been out for like 100 years. I don't even know.
Sorry to everyone at home who I spoiled the book for. A book's been out for like 90 years or something.
And sometimes, rarely though, I'll say really stupid things like this. If they don't make it out of the West and the Raptors get to the finals, I will go on either this show or whoever's show and say that Kawhi Leonard is overrated because I have too much evidence of it. New episodes drop every Friday with me and some of my good friends right here on the Knightline Sports Network.
And now, Back to Nightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Nightline at Night. I'm Andrew Phegley. We're live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barr Law, assisting injured veterans to get the help they deserve. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036, or visit protectingvets.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. We're taking your calls, 844-580-9326, 844-580-9326, or you can use the open mic feature in the WDBO app. I am Andrew Phegley, again, AP_Knightline on Twitter. We got Big Ben Stout with us at Big Social 32 on Twitter, and you can find all the rest of our content, podcast, and everything else at nightlinesports.com. We're talking UCF sports. We talked a little bit about the NCAA tournament, March Madness, and having Houston in there. But we need to talk about volleyball at this point, because volleyball is the American champs, UCF right. Volleyball. So we got to play this for them. We are the champions. We are the champions. If you've listened to our podcast, every time somebody wins a championship in the American that is UCF, we play that. So another, conference championship for UCF in another sport. Again, actually, for volleyball. They do it quite often.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And it's just, and we talked about it last week when they were going into the conference tournament, how they finished 16-1, or they finished 15-1, and now they're 16-1. They finished undefeated in the American Conference in the regular season. But just the way that the volleyball kind of rankings go, we love to complain about rankings in basketball and football, that's for sure, especially football. But really, there's some strange ways that the rankings happen in these other Olympic sports like volleyball and softball, baseball, etc. But they weren't really ranked, even though they were 16-1. It looked like going into the conference tournament that they had to win the conference tournament in order to make the NCAA tournament. And thank goodness for us that Todd Dagenet, McKenna Melville, and the group got it done. They beat Temple in 4 sets to take down the title, and that is their third straight. So back to back to back for UCF volleyball. They've really become a dominant team in the American Conference, and hopefully starting next Wednesday, they can make a run in the NCAA tournament. That'd be awesome. They got the team to do it, it seems.
Yeah, a couple of players on the all-tournament team. Of course, McKenna Melville, most outstanding player. She also won the Player of the Year in the American. Anne-Marie Watson as well for UCF on that all-tournament team, and Nerissa Moravec on that team as well. So 3 players out of like 8 players were ours. So I think that's pretty good. Or 7, actually. 3 players out of 7 were ours.
Yeah, absolutely. And those 3 players that you just mentioned, along with McKenna Melville, Anne-Marie Watson, and Nerissa Moravec, they were both of those, or all 3 of those players were on the all-conference team for the year in the American as well. So great representation there. Todd Dagenet got co-coach of the year in the American. I'm not sure how many times he's won that title, but certainly deserved it this year, getting coach of the year in the conference for this season. And so they're on a roll, and hopefully they can keep it up.
Yeah, you said a little while ago that they are in the tournament. The tournament is a 48-team tournament for the NCAA Division I Women's Volleyball Championship. It's in Omaha, Nebraska. And it's for UCF, it starts April 14th at, I believe, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. And they play High Point University. So I'm not sure. I need to look at the bracket here, actually, to see what seed they were. I didn't have Haven't seen that yet.
So they do it really weird, and again, I'm learning all this stuff kind of on the fly here over the last week. But they do it really weird in the NCAA tournament for volleyball.
Well, they give buys,
where they essentially seed 1 through 16, what they consider to be the 16 top teams in the country, and then essentially all those top 16, they get a bye, and essentially everyone else is kind of the play-in game to get to those. And so ours is essentially a play-in game against High Point for the right to play against Purdue in the second round. And again, what I was saying is how it's so strange the way the seeding happens is that High Point is a team that again has to play us in that quote-unquote kind of play-in game. And they have not lost a volleyball match all year. They're 16-0.
Okay.
So they're certainly going to be no slouch in the fact that they're undefeated. And so hopefully we can, bring it to there and I guess get to the higher seed in Purdue. But
Purdue is a 7 seed, it looks like here. So that's interesting. You play into the 16 team tournament, which is very strange. But it is kind of weird. I did not know that. I learned something. So
and I think
I couldn't find what seed we were. I'm like, I keep looking and I can't find it.
Exactly. It's just a weird way that they do the tournament. I don't know if they made adjustments. I don't know if they usually have 64 teams, and this year because of COVID or whatever, it's only 48. But regardless, it is kind of an odd way they do that with the buys and the only 16 teams are seeded.
All right. Well, hey, we got Andrew from Oviedo on the phone that wants to talk to us, our good friend. Andrew, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Good evening, guys. How are you?
Good. How are you? What's going on?
Well, I'm doing good until about a few hours ago. I'm in a conundrum, and I might need to ask you guys for possible other opinions.
Okay.
So
go for it.
So I was planning on going to the spring game this Saturday. And my daughter, I just started her doing competitive softball this season. And she, fortunately, was able to make the travel team, which is good. And the problem is they have their first game in Claremont on the day of the spring game. So I'm calling to see what I should do. Do you think I should watch my daughter's softball game?
You're going to get me in trouble, Andrew. You're going to get me in trouble. I'm going to get in trouble for this. I know I am. People are going to be calling and hating. Well, I think you should go to the spring game personally, because, I mean, how could they possibly, schedule this softball game on the spring game for UCF, which is such a big deal? And it's in basically Orlando. Claremont is still considered Metro Orlando. How could they do this? That's what I'm saying. Ben, do you have something wiser words? Your son plays in stuff, and your daughter plays in stuff. So,
yeah, I'm. If you're looking for an advocate to go to the spring game versus your daughter's travel softball game, you're not going to really find it in me. I'm going to tell you to go to the softball game and enjoy watching your daughter play. But I mean, obviously, I understand your conundrum. Trust me, I literally have that same conundrum myself this Saturday. But I would say, Andrew, that if you're looking for permission to skip the spring game, I will give you that permission, because family, watching your daughter play some softball and making that travel team has got to be a big deal as well. So I would go ahead and go with the travel team.
It is a big deal to her, I'm sure. And if you're not there, I know when I played sports, and I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but one of my parents did not make a lot of my games at all during playing sports, playing football. I remember only a handful that one of my parents was at, and those were probably the most special games that I ever played. So Yeah, even though I want you to go to the spring game, obviously, because you're a huge fan, a huge Knights fan, one of the best, and all that, I really think that you should probably go and watch your daughter play, because that's a big deal.
Yeah, I figure I'd try to ask, because right now in my house...
He was looking for permission.
I know. And I tried. I tried to give that to you, but... Oh, boy.
Just blame me. I will say, though, just since we're on the topic similar to this, like those who like plan weddings and certain special events during football season, especially college football season on Saturday nights, like, yeah, you have my permission to skip those events because they're being selfish.
Absolutely.
That happens a lot during the fall where people try to schedule a wedding on a Saturday night in, late September. And it's like, what are you thinking? It's college football season.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of those things that I've skipped. I've been like, sorry, I've got other plans. Wish you well. I'll buy you a better present or something, like. I'll send them a little bit better, higher up on the registry list or something, for those. Andrew, anything else, my man, that besides your conundrum of the evening?
That's pretty much it, but I was looking forward to seeing you guys in person. I guess I'll have to wait till the fall now.
We've been trying to get together, you and I, since last year. We never got together all year last year. It was a bummer. We will, though, this season, I promise. Where we tailgate, and we will be. I'll be very happy to see you, especially when we can get back to that stuff.
Sounds good.
All right, man. Take it easy. Thank you. Charge on.
Thanks, Andrew.
He's really upset. That's a bummer, man.
He was looking for us to give him that free pass, but I couldn't quite do it. You were ready to go there. I couldn't quite do it.
I could hear the despair in his voice. Andrew calls more than anybody else calls. I've known him for years now, and I could literally hear the despair in his voice. Like, I feel bad for the guy. I genuinely do, because I know he's excited about both of those things. But it's a big deal for your kids to get you to be at their games, and I don't think they want to play in front of anybody else, to be honest with you.
No doubt.
So, all right, well.
Yeah, he mentioned he was looking forward to seeing us. It actually just popped into my head because we didn't have tailgating all last year, and probably the last time we tailgated was all three of us together.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it was the Gasparilla Bowl over there. To be honest with you, it was the last time, and I saw him there. So, what a bummer. That's what I'm looking forward to more than anything, to be honest with you. I love football, obviously. I love to watch the game. But the camaraderie and the shenanigans that go on during tailgating is some of my most valuable time. Some of my absolute best memories as a football fan are those.
It is a huge part of the fun.
It's a huge deal, and we do it really good. At UCF.
No doubt about that.
UCF fans are incredible at tailgating.
Mm-hmm.
If you've never been there, if you're just listening, if you're a random person listening and there's a UCF show on the radio, get out there sometime and see a UCF football game. Just walk around the campus, see all the thousands and thousands of people tailgating. I guarantee you're going to have a good time. All right, got to take a break. We will be right back on Knightline at Night. Hey, Jeep Wrangler owners, have you ever sat in your office at work and watched the rain just pour into your Jeep because the weatherman said that there was a 0 chance of rain? Or you put your doors back on because there was a 100% chance and then not a drop of rain fell? Well, there's a company out there that can help take the worry away and give you the peace of mind to be without your doors. The company's called Life Without Doors. They make waterproof rain curtains and dash covers for Wranglers. Life Without Doors is there to help make the decision to leave the doors at home an easy one. Find out more at lifewithoutdoors.com.
Spice up your company with homemade marketing services from Tasty Gravy Creative. Tasty Gravy serves up a menu of budget-friendly marketing, graphic design, and public relations services customized to your specific goals. Co-owned by a UCF graduate, Tasty Gravy can help refresh your brand, strengthen your online presence, or reinforce your company's message. Contact Tasty Gravy for help with your website, social media, marketing, advertising materials, and more. Visit tastygravy.com.
And now, back to Nightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Nightline at Night. I'm Andrew Phegley, live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barlaw. Got Big Ben Stout here with me. The one thing that we have not talked about yet, we have talked about all UCF sports, basically. We need to talk about Pro Day that was last week. The first thing that we need to do with that, though, is do our Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week. Welcome to the Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week. Visit TijuanaFlats.com for takeout or delivery, or visit your local Tijuana Flats. Tex-Mex for everyone. I had Tijuana Flats tonight, Ben, for dinner. It was awesome. Taco Tuesday. Had to do it. It was awesome. It was awesome. Got some hot sauce, the one that I really like, and everything else. So it was awesome. Absolutely. I had some soft tacos. It was awesome. I never have soft tacos either. Anyway, Pro Day was last week, and some of our guys did really well. Some of them didn't do so horribly well. But my hot take of the week is going to be that Aaron Robinson will be the first player from UCF that is submitting his name to the draft. He will be the first one picked. He ran a blazing 40 time. Did very well in bench press and everything else. I just really think he's solidified. He was already doing very well in the stuff, for the NFL. They're really looking nicely at him, but he really solidified that during Pro Day, and he will be the first one picked.
Yeah, I can't help but agree with that. His 4.39 and 4.40, those are his 240 times.
4.38.
37-inch. 4.38, excuse me. Yeah, I guess officially it was 4.38.
And a 4.31 shuttle, which is really fast.
Yeah, he showed his speed and quickness to go along with his strength and his size at the cornerback position. I think he's going to do great in the NFL in general, but I can't help but agree with you that he'll be the first one picked of the UCF lot, and hopefully in a nice early round. We definitely want to see some representation in those early rounds. Mine is also similar to UCF Pro Day and the NFL Draft, and my Tijuana Flats hot take is that Jacob Harris he made himself a lot of money on UCF Pro Day, in my opinion, because I believe that he is going to get drafted now after some of the stats that he put up. So at 6'5", 219 pounds, we've always known that he's an athletic freak, but he really put it on display in the Pro Day. Ran a 4.40, had a 40 and a half inch vert. He ran a 6.54 shuttle, three cone drill, ran a 6.51 actually. And that is the best three cone drill that has been put up in an NFL Combine related event in the last 5 years. So that's really showing his by anyone. Oh wow, by anyone. Yeah. So that is
he's an athletic
really special,
beast, and we did not know that. I mean, we did and we didn't, because he's had problems catching the ball.
That's always been the biggest knock on Jacob Harris, right? Like that he has a lot of drops, but he certainly is a heck of an athlete, right?
Yeah, I mean,
and he put it on display.
Absolutely incredible. Yes, he tore it up. The other guys did pretty well. There were some disappointing things. Marlon Williams did not do great in the 40, which I don't know if we expected or not. But I think that he probably hurt his stock a little bit by that.
Yeah.
But we knew that he wasn't a super fast guy in the first place. He was just a brawler basically out there that would take the ball and get it done.
I think if he's going to get drafted, it's going to be drafted off his tape because he's so good at the wide receiver position and just catching the football.
Yeah. Looking forward to that. I can't wait. I always love the NFL draft, and it's usually on the weekend of my birthday. So, all right. Thank you very much for listening, y'all. Go Knights.
Charge on.